Hi, I'm Anthony from Sydney Backyard Veggies. Just out in the garden this morning over at my sweet corn. I'm happy to say that after the long wait, they're finally ready to be harvested. So I'm going to come through here and take a few ears off before it gets too hot and the quality drops off a bit. But before I do that, I'm going to show you what my patch looks like at the moment and what I look for when I come to harvesting my sweet corn. So this is my sweet corn patch. I planted this out in early January. I've got 6 rows here and they were planted out 70 centimeters apart with 30 centimeter spacings within the rows between the plants. Majority of varieties here is Max. It's a commercial variety that I've been using over the past few years, but I also supplemented some of the seed, some of the plantings with some nursery bought generic type sweet corn seedlings. So as you can see, these plants here are the Max, and you can just see they're just actually quite a really bulky plant. They're looking really healthy, and these ones here are the ones that I planted out, which were the store-bought. And actually over here, those ones here, so they're not as bulky, not as a big plant, but look, they're still doing okay. Now I'm just coming through and I'm just been feeling for the ears, and I'm feeling for ears that are really full. This one's not okay, but I've been doing some checks over the week, and what I've been doing is pulling back the corn, and as you can see there, this one's ready to go. Now this one has a little bit of insect damage. The caterpillar got to it, but we'll cut that off. If you look closely, those kernels are full and well developed and coloured, and that's perfect. And then I give it a good fill. That's actually quite filled up. So that's mine going to be the first one I harvest. But there's a couple of few, even though I come across here, there's a few that looking really good. So I've got to come through and harvest what I can, and then yeah, take them inside and keep them out of this sun. It's going to be quite a hot day today, so I don't want them to get ruined out here in the heat. But I'm going to come through, harvest that first ear that I just showed everyone, and then see what else I can get into. I'm in to harvest my first ear. There you go. Really nice. I'm just going to peel this off and see what it looks like. And it's a really stocky corn. Now, I'm really happy with when I harvested this. Now, that little damage there, we'll just cut that right off. But what I'm happy looking at, trying to look at the bottom kernels. You don't want them to go anything beyond that. They're just starting to dimple up, which gives you an indication they may have just been a day too long. But you want to try to harvest them. You don't want the kernels to dry out, but that looks like right on target. I wouldn't want to wait any longer than this, so I'm going to probably end up harvesting most of the ears that are ready now. Probably going to keep them in there with their wrapping around. Don't want to take it off if you don't need to, but this one I just wanted to show everyone how it looks like. But that looks really good. I'm going to continue harvesting what I can and see what I end up with. Another nice ear of corn. I think might be a few more floating around. And my second one. So I just finished harvesting corn. Got myself about 8 ears of corn, and most of them I'm going to keep them in their wrappings, but I have opened up another one, and some of them had a little bit of insect damage, and that's fine. Now you know, you can see that will just cut that off. But really happy. That was the previous one that I harvested. I reckon I'm going to go be harvesting corn for another week or so, but you know, I've got probably a total of 60 plants in that patch, and they'll go through that pretty quickly. Hoping this bed will be cleared, hoping to be clearing it in a week, but I'm expecting it to be cleared in 2 weeks time. I have a lot of brassica seedlings that I need to plant in this spot, and I'm looking at I've planted my 3rd round of broccoli, and I've also gone and started planting my cabbages, and I really want to use this whole space just to really plant the rest of my brassicas, more cauliflower and more broccoli in this area too here. So I'll be glad for that to move on. I'm going to take this inside. I'm going to keep them in the wrapper until I eat them. And I'll probably get these over these in the next day or so, so it's not going to be a big deal. But yeah, I'm going to see what else there is to do. Try to do a bit more harvest before it gets too hot in this place. My first job today is to come and do some work on my cauliflowers. In a previous video, I had healed my broccolis, but now it's time to come through and heal my cauliflowers. What I'm going to do is come through and do a quick light weed with the wire weeder, and then come through and remove some of the lower leaves, add a bit of fertilizer, and then heal the soil. Yeah, just coming through to do the weed, I'm just going to use my wire weeder and just sweeping it across the bed, just ripping out all those thread weeds. You can see, just knocks them all out. And I'll quickly just go through the whole row, just knocking out the ones around closer around the plants. I'll probably have to use come down and just pick them out individually. This is a nice easy way to remove all the weeds. So as I'm coming across to my plants, I bring them closer. I come get any of those lower weeds that are still present where I couldn't get my wire weeder attached, and then I come through just removing all those lower leaves that are touching the floor or going to be covered up, and these will go to the chickens. They will enjoy those as a snack. Coming across, add my fertilizer. I like to use dynamic lifter pellets, chicken manure pellets, good source of nitrogen, and also with a little bit of potash and phosphate, superphosphate. I'll just add it just a little bit there, and that's plenty for now. I do this add this manure, chicken manure pellets, every 2 to 3 weeks. So now the next step is to heal the soil, and they're coming with my hoe, just moving that soil from the center line across to the base of the plant. So just come around gently. Be careful not to cover up the growing node, but generally speaking, just a little bit. And this the idea is just to provide an extra support. These guys will get quite heavy as they're larger. They get larger. Just gently doing that. Bring that soil across. Bring it up against the plant. There you have it. So I'm going to continue on and finish off the rest. So that's now all done. I won't come back and heal them to another 3 or 4 weeks. I might do a second healing. They are struggling a bit with the sun. It's been quite a warm day today, so I'm going to give them another round of irrigation, and once the shade hits these will spruce back up. But happy with where they are at. Expecting to harvest these in mid-April, so we're looking like we're traveling quite well at the moment. So happy that's all done now. I'm going to come through and do some other work around in the patch. So I'm over at my borlotti bean patch, and after growing these out for the last few months, they're ready to be harvested. So I'm going to come through and do a harvest and clear this patch for brassica seedlings. But before I do that, I'll come and show you the patch and what the beans look like at the moment, and then I'll come through and harvest the pods and start cleaning this patch for planting out later in the week. So this is my borlotti bean patch. I've planted 5 rows of borlotti beans here about 2.5–3 months ago, and I had posted up a video up previously on how I planted them out. The variety here is called Red Rooster, and if I bring you close, it puts out a nice little bean. You probably get 3 or 4 beans per pod, and I've got some that are really dried out, but I like that are just starting to change color to that red color. And this is the kind of color I like to pick them at, where they're just starting to remove all that green and start looking the white. That's when I know they're quite ready. Now when I harvest these beans, I freeze them fresh, so I'm not planning on drying them out. But I come through and harvest a whole lot. Now I just wanted to say I did plant a lot more seedlings here, but germination was quite poor. So I've got 5 rows here, and the rows were 20 centimeters apart, and I planted seedlings at about 10 centimeters, and I direct seeded them, and not everything germinated, but that's fine. It is with a bit older seeds, they do tend to struggle a bit. But I come through, start harvesting and see what I can get up. from the patch, and then clear away all that grass and shrubbery and prepare it for planting. Coming through the patch, I'm just essentially just going to pull out the whole plant whole, just come through and just harvest all the pods. Now the green ones, the ones that are slightly green like that, the actual bean will be slightly green, but that's fine. Still a bit on the unripened side, but because I'm shelling these and then freezing the pods, I don't need them to be completely ripe, so these are fine. So I am seeing a little bit of insect damage, and I'm hoping that they haven't gone through and damaged the bean itself. I'm going to continue on picking them, and I will be throwing a lot of this green matter to the chickens. They will actually come through and eat all those leaves and so forth, and they'll make a meal of it and then just add it to the compost pile. So continuing on, let's continue pulling through and harvesting. I'm finding on average 5 or 6 pods per plant, and in hindsight I should have installed the irrigation on these plants. I never got around to doing it, so the harvest isn't as big, but happy to get what I can. So I'm going to continue through and harvest the rest. So I finished harvesting those beans and got myself a container full. A lot more than I thought I would get, but what I am seeing is a lot of caterpillar damage, as you can just see there. And what they've done is that the caterpillars have come in and eaten or damaged the bean in the pod. But I will go shell them tonight and see how much I end up getting, and I will show you the final result. So just an update on my bean harvest. I've gone through and shelled all those bean pods, and this is what I ended up with. They're looking quite good. I have thrown out a few. Some like that needs to be thrown out, but generally speaking, they look really, really great. I'm gonna bag these up in individual bags, 1/2 kilo bags by the look of things, and I will put them in the freezer for use during the year. Now I'm just gonna weigh these up and just see what I ended up with. And around just 1/2 kilo of beans, which is fine. Not all of the beans germinated when I first planted them out, so these will be fine. What I'll do is I'll put them in one bag, and we'll use them over the year, over the cooler months. So happy with that, and I'll start planting my next round of borlotti beans in September. So I'll be starting the seedlings then, and hopefully I can get a few more kilos next year. So before I wrap up this video, I just wanted to show you my latest planting of broccoli seedlings. I planted these in my old stew and bean patch, and I planted 4 rows and 32 plants in total in this space. Now, I planted these about a week ago, and I was struggling a little bit with the really hot, harsh sun that we get in my backyard. But they have now settled in. I've had a bit of shade put in it early when they were first planted out, and that's making sure I keep the irrigation onto them, and they have actually started doubling in size. They are still struggling a little bit with the insect pressure, but I am using pyrethrum to treat that. Now, in the next week, I will add my first application of fertilizer on these plants to really help them along, and I'm hoping that they'll be ready to harvest in about 8 weeks time. I am looking at planting on the right here my next planting of cabbage, and that will go in this spot here. But besides that, yeah, I'm really starting to get through and starting to plant out a lot of my brassica seedlings, and over the next few videos I'll be showing you how to do that. Thanks a lot everyone for joining me in this video. I really appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope you're enjoying watching me working in the patch.